Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday after Thanksgiving, everybody. After Black Friday, it's now Cyber Monday. So, how's everyone doing? It's Black Friday, Cyber Monday don't really mean anything anymore. I mean, we've been in like sale mode for 2 weeks, and sales, it's not a thing anymore. It's just sales. So, good morning again, Sterling. Sterling with the news in here. What is there anything? Cyber Monday online sales to grow high single digits globally. Nobody does anybody go to a store anymore? That's what I'm wondering. That's interesting. Amazon has surpassed UPS, FedEx, and parcel volumes. Not surprising. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Anissa. How are you? I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Good morning, Royal Palms. Oh, good. Another share repurchase. Good morning, George. So dollar down extends fall. Well, we'll see if we get a reversal coming up soon. All right. Again, hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. And for the people that had some time off with Thanksgiving and possibly Black Friday, hope you had a good weekend. So we got to be prepared for this coming week. Where do we sit? Today, pretty quiet. We have new home sales coming out at 9 a.m. Central, Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index at 9:30, and then all your bill and note auctions. Tomorrow, we have consumer confidence. We have Richmond regional indices, and we have some Fed speak, and we have Dallas services. Wednesday starts kicking it into high gear with the second estimate for the third quarter GDP. We have the core PCE and the headline PCE numbers related to the GDP numbers. All right, so that comes out before the market open. We have our accrued numbers come out, and then we have some more Fed speak and Fed beige book. Thursday, we get the all important October PCE numbers month over month and year over year, along with the jobless claims, all before the market opens. Chicago PMI. So Wednesday and Thursday are the big days this week, and then Friday to round out the week, we got S&P and ISM manufacturing PMIs, more Fed speak, and Powell's speaking on Friday. So that's where we sit this week. Let's see. All right, SM so far pre-market. Well, Amazon up with some Black Friday with all the sales. Tesla up for no reason. Other mega caps slightly down. Sort of a mixed morning this morning. Energy down again. Crude. We'll have to see if it's invalidated the potential double. In the groups, let's just do a quick consumer cyclical up and defensive slightly up. Comm services, the biggest pullback, but things not that bad this morning. It's looks more worser than it really is. Looks more worser. Fed, we'll have to see. I'm watching for some kind of rollover play coming up soon. And everybody I talked to over the last few days is in the no-brainer bullish mode. And when I keep hearing no-brainer bullish mode, that gives me a pause. Does not mean we have to drop, but it would be a good place to know where your stops are. Still, speaking of pauses, Fed pause fully in place with the first cut being in March. We'll have to see if that changes. Remember, the next Fed meeting is this month on the 13th. So, in a couple weeks, actually 2 weeks and 2 days. Fear and greed still solidly in greed mode. All right. So, earnings this week. We got Zscaler after the close today. Tomorrow before the open, nothing really. After the close, Intuit, Hewlett Packard Enterprise, NetApp, CrowdStrike, Workday. So nothing that's really going to shake the market. But if you're in any of those stocks, make note of it. Foot Locker before the open on Wednesday. Dollar Tree, which is always interesting to me. Hormel Foods from consumer inflation from the food processing aspect. After the close, Snowflake, Salesforce. There's a couple decent sized ones. And that's where we stand there. Kroger, Thursday before the open. What else do we have? Ulta, Dell after the close on Thursday, and Friday BMO. That's really so a very light week in earnings. All right, so we got the S&P up here. Let's see. Hey, Charles. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Greetings from across the pond. Wish I could eat turkey twice a year. Well, thank you for that, Charles. Hey, Tony. Good morning to you. All right, so we have got daily cycles back getting to the bottom area, weekly cycles getting to the top area. So we'll have to see if we get sideways or a push up before we get to a significant topping pattern. Do we have anything right now? Not really. We're sort of getting a rounding topping pattern right now. The key thing I'm watching if we go down is 45.50 is my level going into the open. But then we have a bunch of key stopping areas. Really, you get anywhere from about 45.36 to 45.46. There's key support. See, there's a lot of stopping points. Then you got about 45.20, then 45.08. So when I have something like this, it's from a short side. It's challenging because you have a lot of potential support points. So that's where that sits. And the major area, though, I'll be watching on the pullback is about 45.35, 45.40, which would reconnect it with the daily rotation zone, which hasn't really been touched since the Friday the 10th. And that was just on a open by pulled up with that strong day. So it's really the first time it really reconnected with it was back at Friday, November 1st. That's how strong this market's been. So now we're in this sideways correction so far. You can see pretty sideways movement with the rotation zone rising up. So I'm watching for that being the first major level of support. To the upside, let's check out. It's pretty obvious where the breakout areas is about 45.65, 45.65, and then we'll be looking at 45.73, 74 area, then 45.80, and then the next harmonic is 45.88. So NASDAQ, same thing, daily cycles heading up, weekly cycles getting to the top, watching for the rollover. Nothing yet. We did get through Thanksgiving, which is what I expected. So now I'm watching for a more substantial topping area. We found some support at last Tuesday's low area. We found it so far Sunday night, Monday morning trading right about this 15,950, 948 area. We get below there, you're in the same thing. Roughly about 15,910. Then you have major support 15,835 to about 15,850. If we look on the daily, the rotation zone is about 15,920. And just below that, 15.8, 15.811 is very, very key support on a sell-off. With daily cycles getting to the bottom and looking to turn up. So this could be all the short-term correction. We could get another push higher before we make a key topping pattern. Again, if you're not already long, I'd wait for at least some kind of pattern to set up to watch for alongside. It really has got to get above 16,100 on the NASDAQ. Then you got 16,175 area, and then you're up to 16,300 is the next major key area. So Dow, not going to just, it finally reconnected on Friday with the 87.5. That was from this most recent sell-off from the double top high pattern in July to the low in October. So we reconnected with that 87.5, and this is a very key topping area. So I'm going to be watching if we plow up through 35,826 over this week. The next key levels are 36,272 and 36,702. Based off of the longer term harmonics, we have The 87.5 again is right here based off the highs from December, January 21 to these lows. Oh, come on. These lows from October 22. So this is a very key topping area, but above that's 36,272. That's where we stand there. They're all good old Russell. So far, just choppy sideways. Still, 1813 is key. You break above there. Then if we get a move on the Russell, I'm really focused on reconnecting with the 200 at 1829. Breakdown level isn't until about 1788. Good morning, Legion Reaver. Thank you for tuning in. The old VIX, little pop this morning, but again, there is no fear in the market. You can see here with Friday, what we get down to 12.45. So no fear. Everything's being shrugged off. Also was reading a bunch of stuff about there's very little downside hedges in place. Everybody's counting on this. Just they're not hedging. They're just going, again, we don't need hedges. Hedges, we don't need no stinking hedges. So if there's a sudden or shocking event, people could be caught with their holiday pants down. But until that happens, that's why I'd still be in trailing mode to the long side. DAX hit this key area. That was really what I was watching for. I'm taking this off now with the head and shoulders because that was the key area. If it does break above this 16,153, which is the next minor target up there, we are at cycle tops and we're very overbought. So I'm watching for some kind of correction. But if we break above 16,153, the next level is 16,339. Key support coming in at 15,950 area with the rising rotation zone. It would have to break below that, and then I'd be focused with a reconnection at the 200 if we get the stronger pullback in the DAX 15,750 area. The notes, technically, this is a horrible double top. I'm just looking at these levels for potentially pullback. Was triggered against the rotation zone on Friday, which was very thin trading. That's why I'm not really interested in using that for anything to the short side. But other than that, there aren't any good setups. Going to be watching for retest on a rotation off about 109. The 10-year, again, potential double bottom confirmed, but did not trigger. Again, I just using these as key target areas that really has to get through against the rotation level. This is not a strong trade. Also with the holiday setups. Right now, going to be watching for possibly support coming back at 442. The 10-2s, no bottom really yet in sight. If we do, I'm watching again this minus 49.5 on a closing basis. So that will be interesting to see if it can pull back all that way. Dollar index, though, now this is a double I'm watching very close. I should say potential double. On a daily close above 103.80. We're into between that 50 and the 62.5. You see we found some key support. We've not even closed. We closed barely on Friday below the 50, but we're finding some support buying pressure down here. If this 102.73 does break, though, I'm watching for stuff to get back closer to this 102 area. So that's where we sit there, but I am keeping an eye on this to see if this does trigger with weekly cycles at the bottom and very close to major oversold conditions. That does not mean I'm be looking to front run this at all, though, from my perspective. Crude, if we get below 73.89, again, the potential double is off the table. Other than that, it needs a close above 78.46. Watching for a new key support zone to get formed in here, even if this double's invalidated. Really, today does not have a lot of great setups. Natty gas, we remember we talked about this, was not head and shoulders. But if we come into here, key support about 261. Gold retesting the most recent high. The only thing is if we get the close below 1935.6, we would have triggered a double top, which would not invalidate the long long perspective. I'm not expecting that double to trigger. But if we break above 2020 roughly, the next key target is 2052. Where else? What question on Disney? I have my weekly harmonic retracements drawn from the week of May 8th, 23, but wonder if they should be drawn from the week of February 6th of 23. Let's take a look. Then we'll get to some other stuff. Let's take a look. Disney. Your long-term harmonics. May 8th of 23. May 8th. This would be, or if they should be from February 26th. They should be, for your longer-term stuff, from that level for the next key area. If you were looking at the shorter term stuff, that would be fine, but I just keep, this one's going to be more substantial. This is the key area, and you look, see at the May 8th area, that's the 62.5. So that's the key area I'd be watching. Now, you can always use your May 8th, but those aren't going to be as reliable for the longer term. But if you look here, you could use this 87.5 as a key target area next higher. All right, because that's still between the 50 and the 62.5. But this one is the more important harmonic. All right, the spiders. The spiders. Let's see right here. Again, we have some gaps left behind. Keep that in mind. If we do trade down, we got a gap fill to 453.27. We're trading 454.31. And then the next key support area is right around 451. To the upside, I'd be looking at, I mean, Friday's was nothing. Friday's high was 455.50. You can use that as a minor target. I'd really be looking at Wednesday's highs of 456.38 and then 457.84, then 459.45 area. On the Qs, where do we sit right now? 388.67. We still have a gap filled to 388.47 that's left unfilled. So that's minor. And then I'd really be focusing on 387.25. Below that would be 386. Those are all the levels to the downside. To the upside, again, you can look at Friday's high as minor, 390.25. The next key area is roughly the close back from Monday, 390.75, and then the highs from Wednesday. The highs from Wednesday, 397.07 to 393.68. What did I say here? 393.07 to 393.68. Hello, Christoph. Hope you're doing fantastic. A firm up 4% after weekend cyber sales update. Everybody's putting stuff on credit too. Strong sales, but got to put it on credit. What do we got? Cybertruck release coming out soon for Tesla, and what's the new Model 3 refresh? The Highland. I'm still watching to see if it closes below 226.54. Again, short-term resistance still 243, above 243.250. Not much else to talk about there. NVIDIA, which is pulling back slower than expected. Delays in the uptake of the China released chip. But watching 469.50 to about 470 as key support. Good morning, Connor. What else do we have? That is really about it. Let's peek in best at S&P. I always find it's best to wait for some decent price action trading before to try to really jump in on everything coming after Friday there was technically trading. You had stocks open but closing early. The futures were super light. There were junior traders on the desks. I discount a lot of action on Friday, so I just wait for some stronger setups coming into stuff, especially with mismatched on cycles. And for the longer term, it's in trailing mode on any of the broad market updates. All right, with that, I will be back to see everyone tomorrow. Remember, the big data starts coming out on Wednesday and Thursday, so be prepared for that. I shall talk to everyone later. Bye for now.